We are happy to have in our studio this morning. Please welcome Tiffany.
Hey. Thank you.
We were just chatting off air about all these other, gigs you've been playing and where you're headed to next and all that. And we actually, and I wanted to lead with this. We have a little bit of a history with you. You probably don't remember because you played so many shows, and this was a long time ago too. This was, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
At least 20 years ago. Maybe, probably more than 20 years ago. We were doing a live broadcast. It was on Fat Tuesday on South Street in Philadelphia at a place called Fat Tuesday. And you were coming by for an interview, just for an interview.
Right.
You were promoting manic panic hair coloring.
Yes.
And
do you remember, guys?
So you came in, we had a house band, and they had learned, I think we're alone now.
Right.
And we were just like, we'll pitch it to her. She's probably not going to want to do it.
Thinking, there's
no way she's going to do it. And we had a fanatical, crazy, hard drinking, 6 a.m. drinker crowd in front of us. You got up and you sang, and the band had learned it note for note with the harmonies and everything. You got up, that crowd went crazy when you started singing.
I do remember actually this. Didn't I have my band with me?
No,
people with me.
You did not. I thought you might not remember. You said so many because you literally were alone, and the guys. It was the band.
This story's becoming sad on my part. What's happening here?
It was the band Mr. Green Jeans, who was our house band, and you're singing along. You get to the chorus. And I forgot who it was, Ronnie, or I forgot one of the
Ryan, maybe
the keyboardist started singing the high harmonies, and you turn around, and you're like, "What? Yeah, awesome!
Save the day.
Yeah,
it was so. That's why you're always a beloved friend of the show because that was one of our greatest moments. And the fact, because you were so used to people saying, "Nah, it's early," you just said, "Yeah." And you did it. And that crowd, again, went nuts.
It was exciting.
Yeah.
I like to sing, so I'll get up there and jump up there. I'm usually not very shy.
Are you surprised that people, 11 albums, and so you've always been working. I mean, you've always been involved. Whether you have a multitude of things you've been involved in, whether it's like you've done some fun movies and reality shows, but the music has always been right through that whole process.
Yeah.
And people must. Because some of the stuff is not what we're hearing. Let's say I think we're alone now, but you've been hard at work for years putting out albums.
Well, silly movies, like you said, sci-fi, Mega Python versus Gatoroid, very serious stuff.
Where you fought Debbie Gibson?
I haven't been singing. I've been saving the world from.
By the way, we love those movies. Yeah, we love.
Thank you. I do too.
Yeah.
And I'm going back. Actually, I just reconnected with Asylum Productions, and there's talks about doing some more sci-fi in my world. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I think everything circles back around music, especially in today's world. You have to kind of, it's exciting because you can live different parts of yourself.
Sure.
Like my company's Zen My Friend, Let's Zen My Friend, which is holistic healing, and just my knowledge and what I'm learning on the road with my own health battles and traveling on the road all the time and how to keep it together. And then, cooking. I cook Let's Food with Tiffany. So, but all of it is just leading back to music and what I do. And now the new album, Shadows, we're finally out on the road with it. But this tour is different. It's a little wink back to retro.
Okay.
It's a UV experience, so get your UV on. Come out and glow with me. We're selling jackets. I've painted them, hand painted them. They glow. Cool stuff to wear during the show. Of course, light up balls that everybody can throw around. So we're just really kind of having fun. I think I spent so much time on the road showing people I could really sing, showing people I was a really musician, all of that. But this tour, I can kind of live in both worlds.
Yeah.
I think, that we've set that base a little bit about she's still here and she really can sing and she's a songwriter now and come do, more rock stuff with me. And now I can kind of step back and also have fun with the retro stuff. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're going to live in the best of both worlds.
And that's how this tour will proceed, with this style, with this approach?
With this approach. I mean, the new album is pretty much like, I call it rock retro.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a wink back to the 80s flair.
Yeah.
The fun of that music. I can't really put my finger on it, but whatever that was, it's there. And we worked really hard on it. Modern production from my producer who sits next to me, Mark Alberici, and a little bit of a wink back to punk music, you know? So it's a little bit of all of that together on the new album.
Yeah, it's funny because I go back to 1987, which is when that album and that song hit. And for me, that was like when I look back at my childhood, like for some reason, 1987 always plays over and over again because of that was it was the year I had my first kiss, and that summer of 1987 was the summer of I Think We're Alone Now. And, you know, I was at the pool and I was with all my friends and I hung out with a bunch of girls and we were kissing and all that. I mean, honestly, like
we were finding ourselves.
We were finding ourselves at that time. But also, like, in addition to like what the activities that there was a soundtrack. And you are a soundtrack of my life, which are part of the soundtrack of my life, which is really, really cool. And I'm glad that that is something that you embrace.
I love it. I do. I really do. I mean, you know, I do the music diaries on YouTube, and it talks about each album and not what you would think. It's not really about my take on the music. It's about my take on living through it. All the emotions I had, all the experience I was having in my home life, from relationships, all of it, and how that affected me as a musician or performer. And those early albums, I was finding myself.
You were a kid.
Right along with my fans. Yeah. So, you know, I was right in there with you guys.
Yeah.
Even though I was Tiffany, I was really listening to your stories and connecting with my fans and, you know, talking about adolescence and heartbreak and, again, maybe not having the best home life. I love my family, but they were a little crazy. So, you know, but everybody's was. It took me a while to move around the world to realize, whoa, we're all like connected. It's all kind of the same thing.
Well, and now the older music, like when I hear it, it just takes me back to such a great time in my life. You know, it's so nice. But
carefree,
yeah, carefree, totally. But I have to ask you, the rivalry between you and Debbie Gibson, was that real or is that made up by tabloids?
No, that is totally made up. We are friends. I mean, she's my partner in saving the world from Mega Python and Gatoroid. No, we are buddies. You know, we're so different, but that's what we love about each other. I think that, it's, again, full circle. The fans know now they don't have to pick Debbie or Tiffany. They can have us both. There's no rivalry there.
It's like the Stones and the Beatles.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what it was great is that you got to depict that quote unquote rivalry because you guys actually physically fight in the movie.
Oh, yeah, we had a blast.
Which was hilarious.
Casey mentioned the soundtrack, and it's got to be fun to you when you hear your music and your performances come up. We're watching the first season of The Umbrella Academy, the very first episode.
Right.
Huge scene. The entire song is played.
I know.
I think we're
so
alone
exciting.
now.
I'm a fan of the show.
That had to have been
so
cool.
that was a great, I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to happen, so it was a great surprise.
Yeah, and so that, I mean, it's so, well, that song in particular is woven into, a lot of different soundtracks, and you're usually not aware of when that's going to happen.
No.
It just kind of
right now, it's a commercial for McDonald's, actually, in the UK.
What? In the UK?
Right.
Wow. I wanted to ask, because of the album is Shadows, and I was reading an interview with you where you were talking about you're off a divorce, right?
Yes.
And I was wondering, as a songwriter, is it better to write from a place of pain or of elation and joy? Which works better for you?
I can do both.
Yeah.
I think what comes naturally out of me is the more solemn. I'm a true life musician.
Okay, yeah.
There's always a deep sadness there that I don't really understand sometimes. But, again, that's why I love songs like Could Have Been, All This Time. Some of the ballads that I was singing back then, I related to for some reason, probably because I saw as a kid broken relationships and the sorrow of that.
I want to talk about your family in a second, but to that point, are you still not when that all broke, you were the youngest person to have back-to-back #1 albums on the Billboard charts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. And that blew my mind. That's pretty. And how old were you?
I was 15. I was 16, actually, I think, when all of that really started to happen. 14 when I recorded the record, 15 when I did the mall tour, and then it started to take off. And by the time I was 16, I had number one.
It's huge. Wow.
Touring the world.
And to your family, and I remember when that was all, you wanted to get legal emancipation from your family, and I didn't realize, you know how this stuff gets parsed out and how it's fed out to the public, and then you read about the story really, and I remember there was some backlash against you and, what you're doing to your family, and then you read about your family, and you're candid about, you've been candid, you know, your mother had many issues, and explain to people what your situation was and why you were eager to get that emancipation.
Well, I don't think that, to be honest with you, I don't think going into a trial, and again, that was all taken advantage because I was Tiffany.
Right.
So the attorneys, of course, want to rake in that bill. It took me years to understand all of this. But really, what happened was I wanted to move out of the house where my mom was and my stepfather because they had reunited again. And I felt that they didn't really address some of the problems. I was deathly afraid my mom was going to return back to, drinking.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to be a part of that. So I wanted to go and live with my grandmother. But my
more
mom,
stable.
was kind of dependent on me. There's that codependency. We had that relationship for a long time. Again, I didn't know what that was. But so she didn't really want to let me go. It was just that simple, that I was like her security blanket. But at the time, again, I got a major record deal. I'm now touring the world. I've got the label. I've got the management. And I just couldn't do the home thing as well. Go home and
you're
clean
super
up the
young.
messes.
You're having
I just wanted to go to my grandma's.
Yeah.
Really, it was down the street. And I ended up, somebody put it in my head, well, you probably should file for emancipation.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to really be heard or can actually make this happen where you are out of the home. And that's what happened. I filed for emancipation. It was ugly. I think it was something my family had to go through, and it was really bad for a minute. But my mom got sober, stayed sober, and the family actually healed after that.
So the emancipation didn't happen? Just
it did happen.
Oh, it did
I was
happen.
emancipated.
Okay.
I went and lived with my grandmother.
Okay.
And it took me a couple of years to really reconnect with my mom and get a real understanding of what had happened. Again, there's that therapy and that healing. And, she had to come out of that darkness for herself as well. So we connected. And once I became a mom, that's when, I think my whole relationship with my mom really healed because the music thing she didn't really get. She didn't know how to really advise me from that. And I think it was very overwhelming for my family.
Have you seen the Brooke Shields special on the documentary?
I have a little bit.
It's so
yes,
linear to what you're saying.
I love Brooke. She's always been so nice to me. She's wonderful.
My God, I mean, her mom was living her life through her.
Yes.
And got very attached.
I think my mom wasn't really living my life. My mom didn't know how to live her own life. She was very shy and very quiet. And then I had this overpowering manager who, again, if you're trying to find your voice and you really don't know how to handle things maybe without alcohol, he was really overpowering and probably not what she needed.
Right.
But again, sometimes the whole world collapses on you to rebuild. And that's what my mom did. So it's a success story in the end. My family's really great. Everybody's healthy. There's no drama now. And I have a son who's 30, and he's a structural engineer. His name's Elijah. And, I'm living life. I'm proud. Everything's
That's awesome.
good.
So would you have done it differently or no?
I would have done it differently because, again, I didn't really expect that long trial. I didn't expect them to pull punches where they, went and interviewed people and threw out things about my family that I really didn't really want out there, and wasn't aware that was how it was going to happen.
It was pretty rotten.
So, yeah, I mean, I would have put my whole family into counseling. I think it would have been cheaper. And I think we just really need to have a talk it out. And my mom needed those skills and those tools to live sober.
Yeah, it's smart. If people talk, if you communicate, you can get some things
totally.
done.
And yet it's the hardest thing for people to do sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, listen, we want to talk some more. We want to get some more questions. We have some more questions for you, but we also want to hear you perform this morning.
Awesome. Okay.
So we have Mark Alberici, who's going to be performing guitar here, and Tiffany singing along. So what are we going to hear?
We are going to hear You're My Everything, the new single from Shadows.
Nice.
Let's check this out. It is Tiffany on MMR.
Here I am, once again. You're my everything and all. You're my everything in me, all my love. Once again, here I am, telling you my heart is true. Honestly, I can't take the strain. There's no words to pull you through. You're my everything. You're my everything and all. You're my everything in me. You're all my love. In a world full of sadness, love is a foolish thing. You heal from the scars to break your heart over again. All I am is all we are. But I'm screaming in the dark. Tell me why we're broken hearts, burning home right from the start. You're my everything. You're my everything and all. You're my everything in me. All my love. You're my everything. You're my everything and all. You're my everything in me. All my love. In a world full of sadness, love is a foolish thing. You heal from the scars to break your heart over again. In a world full of sadness, love is a foolish thing. You heal from the scars to break your heart over again. You heal from the scars to break your heart over again.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Cranking it out there.
If you just tuned in, that is Tiffany performing live here in our studio this morning. She's going to be at City Winery tonight, and you can get tickets at citywinery.com/Philadelphia. And we were talking off air. Then you're headed off to play Daryl's house, right?
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Never
so
been.
Daryl Hall.
So,
and
yeah.
is it a concert venue, or is he recording it as well?
He actually has a concert venue. I know that there was a show as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I think he stopped the show for a minute.
Yeah.
So this is his concert venue, and I'm thrilled. I'm excited. All the shows, I'm thrilled. This is going to be a great tour. I really am. So, it's nice to be here in Philly. I have family here, so
really?
tonight I'm going to see everybody's faces.
Oh.
So that, it's always great to see the fans. It's always great to make new fans. But it's also great to see all of you guys as well. Thank you for having us here today.
Our pleasure.
But also family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who's family? Who's in town? Cousins?
Oh, cousins, yes.
okay.
Cousins, an extended team TIFF, which I call my family. So
TIFF,
it
I
takes
love-
a village to do what I do, especially as an independent nowadays. So
Yeah.
I love all of them.
I wanted to ask, and if it's too personal, pardon me, but are you single right now? Are you
No,
seeing
I'm
anybody?
engaged.
Get out, you too?
Really?
You guys are engaged? All right.
Congratulations. There you
Nice.
go.
I'm
Congratulations.
engaged
Yeah.
to Mark.
How
Yes.
long ago did that happen?
Oh, gosh. It was Christmas Eve. How romantic, right?
Yes.
Nice
Whole
job.
deal. Total surprise.
Okay. You set a
Total
date yet, or is it wait and see?
No, actually, we're just Well, I think we're still talking about it. Mark is from London. He can talk, and he's
Yes.
very early.
wasn't sure.
I will say.
Yes.
He's true. He is true rock and roll.
So you
This
went,
is way
you,
too
went,
early.
you went with the guy who can talk.
I did. He does that. He has a beautiful accent.
Yes.
He's a Londoner. So
Well, yes, I am.
Hey, Steve, I'm sensing like Hallmark Christmas movie
Hallmark
here.
Christmas movie, perfect. Tiffany, it'd be
I
awesome.
Yeah,
would
they
say
got
no to
engaged.
Hallmark. I think I'm more of a Lifetime girl as
Okay.
well,
All
though.
right. All right.
There's a little drama there.
Well,
So
that's
yeah.
true. That's true. Yeah.
If we're gonna do it, let's do it right.
I love that. I love that. I wanted to ask about your who came up with the concept of the mall tour, which put you, because like locally here, the Hooters played a lot of high schools early on, and people still talk about that. That was just such a nuclear explosion when you did those tours, because the video from that ended up as that first video that sold the song.
Right. That was because I was going to get dropped by my label.
Really?
It really was. I started performing out here on the East Coast, doing clubs. I'm an LA girl, born and raised, but there were no dance clubs really in LA. It was rock. And they sent me out here to the East Coast. I was 15, doing I Think We're Alone Now.
Right.
And it was going wild. Everybody loved it. But I was too young to even be in the club.
Right.
So the age difference was like, how are we going to like have fans for her? She can't even stay in the club. So literally they were going to drop my project. They had tried a bunch of different things, and it was my A&R guy walking through the mall with his daughter, and he thought, well, they have hair shows and they have fashion shows and, you know, all these different tutorials, makeup tutorials. Why not have music? So that's how the mall tour was born.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
It was brilliant. It saved everything for me. Made me a mean shopaholic as well.
I'm sure.
But Casey pointed out, you were of the age of the girls who would be in that mall shopping.
Oh, yeah.
And you're there performing.
I used to love it because I would perform, get up and do like 5 songs, do my whole thing. And then literally there'd be a crowd of people and I'd be like, do you want to go and have a hot dog? And they'd be like, okay. And like all these people when we'd have hot dogs and pizza. And then I'd come back and sing again. And the crowd would get a little bigger. And I'd be like, do you want to have a hot dog?
Tiffany, you mentioned Brooke Shields always being nice to you. Who along your route throughout the years were you surprised to find out was like, starstruck? Tiffany, oh my God.
Oh, Alanis Morissette.
No
Alanis
kidding.
Morissette.
She totally was like, oh my gosh, you're Tiffany. I was like, you're Alanis Morissette. That's weird, right?
That's awesome.
Did I
She's
hear?
totally cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's awesome as a performer, as a vocalist, as a person, as a human, as a mom.
Yeah.
Have
you ever performed together?
As a fellow Zen holistic healer, and she's really into retreats and mental awareness and mental
Yeah.
health. So I love her.
I wanted to ask you about that because I wasn't familiar. You said you have like a holistic healing. What is it that you did?
So what I'm doing is I have been diagnosed with long COVID, which is turning into some kind of weird autoimmune disease now. So just like we were saying earlier, like arthritic conditions and stuff. So I'm battling it with nature, natural remedies, acupuncture, Chinese medicine. I've always been into that, but now it's really, I'm applying it to my life. So as I travel around, I'm just kind of, Let's End My Friend is on Instagram. I'm going to be having a website connecting the dots of alternative ways and information for everybody in my community. So as I travel around again, you know, the world, I'm going to be meeting with doctors and holistic practitioners, going to do acupuncture. I'm basically the guinea pig. So come see that happen. And hopefully I'll just start feeling better and better every day.
Are you happy with the results so far as
I
you go on
am.
this journey?
I am. I found a great doctor in Nashville, Dr. Toddy. So I'm going to be interviewing her as well and just finding anything and everything we can about, you know, mental awareness, again, mental health, calming the body, living to our best capacity. A lot of it is stressors. I know I'm a go-getter. So I put a lot of extra stress on myself, and learning to balance is the biggest deal.
You
It's easier
mentioned
said than done.
You mentioned your 30-year-old son. How has he handled having Tiffany as mom and you getting recognized and that whole thing?
You know, Elijah, I had the perfect son. He just came out that way.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, whatever. You're my mom.
Yeah. Okay.
Not
That's pretty much
starstruck.
been his. He's like, anyway, can I get some food? Great. When you're done with that. No, he's really always been that way, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm just mom.
Next.
Tiffany, you mentioned emotions attached in songwriting, and I'm curious as to at any point in your life, was there bitterness and or resentment towards I Think We're Alone Now? Did you ever look back on it and regret it?
No.
You always
No,
embraced
I've never, I didn't want to record the song. So I started out with that mindset, to be honest with you. Even at 14, I was like, well, this isn't Stevie Nicks. This is what I want to do. I came from country to more like a classic rock transition, all of the age of 9 and 10, and then landed in pop music. And when we were first recording, it was a little bit more like the band Texas, a little bit more like a Sheryl Crow, a little Stevie Nicks, and then all of a sudden enter in I Think We're Alone Now. And I was not thrilled. I thought that wouldn't show I could sing and put me in a dance category, which happened. But that's not a bad thing. It just was my path. And now I can do other things and still celebrate I Think We're Alone Now. So I've never gotten tired of singing this song. Everybody asks, are you going to sing I Think We're Alone Now? Always, always, always. And we've rocked it out. So this show, again, we're having fun. We've extended it. It's got some new, different elements in it. And of course, we're going to be rocking our UV in it. So
very
you gotta
cool.
come
There
and
you
have
have.
fun with I Think We're Alone Now on the show.
Are we hearing that this morning? Are you going to play that
We
this
are.
morning? Okay, excellent.
So you guys have to
This is great. And even
Now
if you're
sing.
hearing it on the radio now, that's great. But when you hear it in person, you get to dance.
Yes.
You get to
Oh,
really
yeah,
get to
no,
feel,
I'm milking this one. Like I said,
Yeah.
this is really a celebration of music for me, period.
Okay.
For being here for over 30 years, for having new fans, and of course, all the people that came to the mall tour in the beginning. So that's, I think, again, this is the highlight of the show. At the end of the show, I Think We're Alone Now. And we're going to make you dance. We're going to make you sing.
Love it.
We're just going to get all hot and sweaty and have a good time.
All right, well, let's get a feel for it now if you're ready.
Awesome.
Tiffany's playing City Winery tonight. Here we go on MMR.
I think we're alone now, yeah. Children behave. That's what they say when we're together. I watch how you play. They don't understand, and so we're running just as fast as we can. Holding on to one another's hand. Trying to get away into the night. Then you put your arms around me and we tumble to the ground, and then we say, I think we're alone now. Doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. Beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now. Doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. Beating of our hearts is the only sound. Look out the way. We gotta hide what we're doing. 'Cause what would they say if they ever knew? And so we're running just as fast as we can. Holding on to one another's hand. Trying to get away into the night. Then you put your arms around me and we tumble to the ground, and then we say, I think we're alone now. Come on, everybody. It doesn't seem to be anyone around in your cars. I think we're alone now. Beating of our hearts is the only sound. Oh yeah, I think we're alone now. Doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. Beating of our hearts, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think we're alone now. touch your heartbeat. I can change your heartbeat. Let me hear your heartbeat. Let me feel your heartbeat. Let me touch your heartbeat. I can change your heartbeat. Let me hear your heartbeat. Let me feel your heartbeat. Let me touch your heartbeat. I can change your heartbeat. Let me hear your heartbeat. Let me feel your heartbeat. Let me touch your heartbeat. Yeah, yeah. I can't wait a long time.
I so wanted to sing along, but I would have ruined it.
Yeah.
I would have destroyed it.
I was going to say the same thing. Tiffany wanted us to sing along. I'm
Where were you guys?
like, we're not ruining this.
We're going to ruin this. Tiffany, you don't realize how bad we are.
I could see it. I could see it.
We
in
were
your face.
grooving. We were definitely grooving. So we stayed away from that. Sorry. But again, Tiffany playing City Winery tonight. I have a song about, or I have a question about that song and a moment in there that I absolutely love. You do it twice. And it's in the line, and I'm talking about the original recording, Into the Night, because you go, into the night. You do that. Did a producer ask you to do it that way? Or, okay, that's what I thought.
I've always had that kind of Stevie Nicks grit, probably because that's all I did in a room was like, I can sing, all that kind of stuff. So it's naturally there. But of course, on the record, he was like, I really want it into the night. I was like, and of course, it was the 80s, guys. So.
Well, you sounded, your voice was much older. I mean, I heard the song before I saw the video, and I thought this had to be a much older singer.
Right.
Yeah, so that it was very, very accomplished. Tommy James and the Shandells were the artists. Did you ever interact with?
Oh, I've met Tommy James so many times. He's lovely and he's wonderful. Richie Cordell was the writer of the song as well. But yeah, I mean, when the song came to me at first, it was like, children behave. I was like, where are we going with this?
It was
what
very
is happening?
croonerish, yeah.
And then I came back the next day and it was dun 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 dun. And I was like, oh, it's even worse. Okay.
Well, the songwriter had to have loved you because he put some dollars in his pocket.
Well, and not to mention, I think it was like 5 months later, we have Moni Moni from Billy Idol.
Yeah.
So it was a good year.
No, you're right. I forgot about that. That was not that long
But great
after that.
songs.
Wasn't Dirty Dancing that year as well? And that soundtrack was huge. And there was like a lot of 50s, 60s era like doo-wop music on there. And that,
I think so.
It all complemented one another.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, listen, we're so excited you made it by here this morning. And we wanted to thank you for, that excitement that we got 20 years ago.
We will never forget
20
it.
some odd years ago on
Well,
South
thank
Street.
you.
It was so cool. And today was so cool. And tonight's going to be so cool. City Winery, if you'd like to go see Tiffany. So we're happy that you're still doing what you do. And if you're gonna do more of the movie stuff, you got to get back in touch with us.
Oh,
we want
definitely.
We want to hear about that too.
TiffanyTeens.com. Everybody who's listening, please visit me there. That's all things Tiff World, and come be a part of my world.
Yes.
We're doing a lot of different things, and of course, music is always in there somewhere. So definitely.
Thank you so much for being here. It's Tiffany, everybody. City Winery tonight. We are going to take a break. We'll come back in just a second. Stay with us.